Hey guys, doing? We have another show with Jamie Schmidt, aka ServicePro Expo, and John Tornabene, the Parking Garage King. We have a special guest tonight. Everybody share the show out for many people as you can because it's all about going to Florida next month where it's nice and warm. The temperature's warmed up. We're going to be 21 degrees here tonight in New York. I leave tomorrow morning. Well, let's introduce our guest tonight, Jason Ayers. Jason is Veterans Pressure Wash Incorporated. Jason, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, doing well. Like you said, wait for these temperatures to warm up. I'm in Tennessee, so it's not as bad. Like today's high was 39 here, so we were slinging the sauce today, and it was taking forever for it to work. But we're gonna make that money. So
Yeah. What do you? So, what would I tell my crew to do? And my crew got the schedule. And I'm going to be gone in Florida until the beginning of the end of February, beginning of March. So what we do is we warm up the chemicals.
mhm.
That's what we do. Everybody. Well, not everybody knows this, but hot water freezes faster than cold water. So what they do is they'll like if they're going to do it. We're doing no residential, but they were out cleaning Barry's the other day. They're going to be doing restaurants for the next 5 weeks. So what they do, if they need chemicals, they warm it up, and then they spray the chemical, and they might even warm up the sidewalks, whatever. Is that what you guys do as well?
No. I have a little different approach. So I have a shop. It'll hold 6 trucks in there.
Right.
I keep the heat on 60 throughout the winter. Now the heating bill is a little bit high for gas, but I found if you keep the rigs warm, number one, they're not freezing cold when you go out to your job site, but number two, you're keeping your SH somewhat warm.
Yeah, that's what
So
we
when you
do.
travel to the job, you do a house wash. Your first
Yeah, but,
couple of houses, you don't have to, to keep
yeah,
them.
but what we do with that is the same thing. We have the shop. I'm buying lifts now to put 2 more trucks on top of these things. It's 20,000 pound lifts that can go up, and we do the exact same thing. I keep it at 65 when I'm gone. So when they go out though, they can be out. It could be like 18, 19 degrees.
Mhm.
So what they do is what they know to do this is when they're out there because they have the burners on the flatbeds, they can heat up that mixture as well.
Mhm.
So, but what are you guys doing now, Jason? You guys doing commercial? Are you doing residential to this time of year? What do you do? Both?
Right now, it's mainly commercial.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now. Is our local chamber of commerce. We started on it this morning. It's a 4-story, brick building, trimmed out, precast concrete, doing
Okay.
all the flat work, and we're doing the windows at the very end. Um, but yeah, right now it's mainly commercial. Any residential we get in is normally just from real estate agents or somebody selling their house real
Right.
quick and needs that last minute touch. But right now we're scheduling for the spring for your traditional homeowners.
Right.
So they don't want it right now. So which is fine with me. I mean, my guys would rather be doing a commercial job, getting off at 3:30 in the afternoon and coming home. So
I know. Yeah. Commercials done at night a lot of times. Jamie, what are you guys doing this time of year?
Uh, we don't do much in the winter except some commercial stuff.
Oh, yeah, so you're doing Christmas lights. You got to take
Christmas
these
lights,
suckers
yeah.
down.
We're just finishing up. We were behind. We were actually behind on Christmas lights because this year everybody wanted to get pushed to after the 15th,
Right.
and then we said okay. And then all of a sudden we had 2 snowstorms come in and froze everything up. And I'm like, well, all right, well, we're not going out there. We're not going out there with chisels and trying to dig lights out of roofs. So
Right.
it all melted now, so we're good to go. But yeah, I mean, we're doing something. We'll do a little washing here and there, but some commercial stuff. Same thing here, though, man. I know probably same thing Jason's talking about. Even though if you get those nice days, we'll get warm days that are really warm, but it's still, the consumers here in my area had that winter mindset. Like it's winter. Like we're inside the house. We're not going outside in the backyard, and we don't care how the outside of the house looks. So, realtor stuff like that. People selling the house, yeah.
I tell guys I'm leaving Florida tomorrow, and it costs like $250 a day for my operation to run. That's with the shop rent, the heat, and everything else. So the guys are like, "Boy, you're so lucky because I have a house down in South Florida. It's all, there's no bills on that house." But they're like, "John, it's so great you can do that." I had the same employees for a lot of years, but every day that they don't work all through the year. Now my guys are only going out once a week. Now they're going to go out once a week for the next till I get back, pretty much, because it's so cold here, right? So they go out once a week, but without counting that, it costs you $250 a day in that range, my operation. So when you talk about 7 days in a week, right, you're looking at, I don't know, $1,800, about $2,000 a week in that sense, right?
Yep.
So when I'm gone for those, generally I go 3 months, but we've been so busy. But when I'm gone for until like March 1st, the first weekend, that's costing me $2,000, so it's $8,000, $10,000 to go to Florida, because we don't really do a lot this time of year. We used to do scales, the ice and scales, but what happens when I come back, all hell breaks loose, because my guys are going to go, we start like mid-March in that range, they go 7 days a week, all the way up to July 4th. I have three full-timers with me, 13 plus years. The main guy's 15 years. I had 3 part-timers that have been with me 8+ years. They will go out and we stay totally busy. And then here's, people don't realize this. When July 4th hits, we might go to 6 days a week through the summer. The summer's all for us commercial. So, but now when I go to Florida, the guys are like, oh, you're so lucky, John, you get a break. No, they'll only go out 1 day a week. So it's $250 a day in that range times 6 is $1,500. So if you didn't have the operation I had, if you're just an owner operator, which is nothing wrong with that, or you have one other guy, you can go on vacation to Europe for the cheapest it costs me to be in Florida.
Yep.
So guys don't realize that your companies, you still got to pay your workers' comp through the year. You got to pay your liability insurance through the year. In Jason's case, he's got his shop. He's got to pay through the year. I pay SEO through the year. It's a lot more to business, Jason. Wouldn't you agree than what people think there really is? It's a lot
yeah. I think the easy part of this whole job is cleaning. The hard part is actually managing it.
Right.
Your employees, they tend to think, oh, we have easy streak. We can go to your lunch whenever we want to and go meet people. But what they don't understand is the back end work. When we get home, we're, some of us are doing taxes, we're checking bank accounts, we're filing receipts. Doing any kind of maintenance that wasn't done, during the day, et cetera, et cetera. We also build rigs, so we're doing that.
Right.
It's like I said, the easy part's washing, the hard part's managing it.
That's right. That's the hardest thing is, Jamie, you can agree with this. If business was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot to it. It's like I used to be so involved with sports, and but now it's business. And Thad Eckhoff told me a while back. He says, John, because I was very involved with sports. I played football, hockey, and everything else. I followed it all. Used to play in those leagues. Still, what do you call those leagues? I forget what you call them. You can do it on the internet. I'm in a blank what you call those. But now everything is business. Because if it's even when I'm sitting on the beach in the west coast of Florida, I'm thinking business. I love it. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you I love it, but I could veg there, but I still think about it. I'm like, what should I do in this year? What should I do with one of the guys who wants to get? One of my guys want me to sub him on top of the 40 hours minimum. I pay my guys a minimum 8 hours a day, and then they get 40 hours a week, and then they get overtime on top of that. But one of my guys now want to do stuff that I don't want to do, but I can get the work. So I was like, John, can't you sub me afterwards? All these things I think about all the time. Business never stops in your mind. Does it really stop?
Nope.
At least mine doesn't.
It's mindset. I mean, once you're in the mindset, it's a way of life at that point for me. I heard a guy the other day. He told me, he said, if you don't come into work every day trying to figure out a way to lower the cost of your business, you're not running it right. And that's a 7 days a week type thing. I mean, you're sitting at home Sunday morning with your wife, you're thinking, maybe I could do this for a little bit cheaper without skimping on quality.
Right.
So.
And does your wife? My wife runs the company. Tony Zabel, God bless him, he just passed away the other day. I don't know if you guys know him. Do you guys know who Tony Zabel? Do you know him?
I know he was, yeah.
He's been in my house a couple of times. He does water towers around the country. He passed away. And there's a lot more what's going on here. So I'll talk about that down the road. But he told me years ago, he says, John, you should get your wife involved. Because my wife had a great job. And our first daughter was born. She wanted to stay home. So she walked away from a job would have probably $150,000 a year now. She was running the Estee Lauder branch in New York City. She walks away from that. So now she does. My wife runs the company. Nobody knows who I am anymore, which I like. I do the big commercial estimates. All the residential we have 5,000 customers. We get about 800 of those, 900 of those a year that call us. They don't know who I am. They know her. All my 5-star reviews are based on Kathy because she deals with the customers. Tony Zabel told me that years ago. He says, John, get your wife involved. She's sitting home. She's class mom for our kids for years. If she wants to get involved, let her get involved. That works for us. Doesn't work for everybody. I mean, me and my wife are exact opposite. She's quiet and very smart, and I'm a big mouth and maybe not the smartest, sharpest tool in the shed. So we get along great. Now, how do you do yours, Jason? Is your wife involved at all? Or you're doing it all?
Absolutely not. No.
He's the opposite. You say.
I love my wife to death. She's downstairs with my dogs right now, but so she's an attorney full time, family attorney.
There you go.
Child support, adoption, divorces, that sort of thing. But no, she'll go with me if I'm already in town and she's with me. She'll go with me to an estimate or something. But no, it may be a southern thing, but down here, man, I try to cut business and personal. Like there's a fine line between the two, and I don't. In my early years, probably years 0 through 3, it was me telling her about this house I did, this roof I washed. We go through town, I'm pointing, and finally she got sick of it. It's like I care, you're paying your bills, but I don't. So I mean, and now we're doing more commercial. And it's, like today, she knows where I was at the Chamber of Commerce. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. Well, how was the rest of your day? She hears about washing all the time, so.
Wow, it's in your blood.
Yeah, right. But another cool thing, this is probably not part of the show, but as of this past December, her and I actually went in on a joint venture and bought a brick and mortar type business. It's nothing to do with pressure washing. It's actually a co-working space. Wow. So, and I put her as the primary owner, 51%. So it'd be a female-owned, business. So we're running that on the side. So
well, you are what they call an entrepreneur. That's what it comes down to.
Yes, I have gray hair. That's correct. That's what that is.
I'm not. I stick to one business. I teach a garage class, but I'm staying on the one business. But a lot of companies are on. Jamie, Jamie's an entrepreneur. I mean, you're into everything. Christmas lights, you're into house wash, you're into ceiling. That's like an entrepreneur spirit kind of thing. But to go back to you, Jason, your wife's got a career. Mm-hmm. If your wife, my wife had a great career too. My wife's got a degree in business, very, very intelligent. Her family is. But I tell people she stayed home 28 years ago. She walked away from this great job. And I worked at 2 jobs then. I started power washing and I was a police officer. So I ended up being a police officer for 25 years. And now I'm on my 28th year owning the company, right? But my wife, I was able to float this whole thing. But then eventually when Tony Zabel told me, John, I wear all the hats. He goes, do this, do that, do the other thing. And then one of them was to have my wife take over the administrative end. And I could have hired, and now virtual assistants. You guys use virtual assistants at all, Jamie? VAs?
No, I know a lot of guys that do though. So it's definitely good opportunities now for companies. I mean,
Dave flipping. That's what he's doing all winter.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can get these people around the country. It's one of the things. My wife's getting over inundated now at work, and it's on my mind to do that. You have to guarantee them a full week, and they're only like $6 an hour. $6 an hour in the Far East in American money is not bad.
No.
So, but my goal is to stay very where I am. I'm a death sentence to a company because I'm very content. Like Jason, you're going to keep driving. You're going to keep driving. You're going to keep building. You're going to keep building. And my company I have opportunities. I may do it, but I have the same employees all these years because I keep them so busy. And they're making 6 figures, my guys. So I have a different business model than a lot of people do. In your case, Jason, and Jamie, you too. You guys can go through the ceiling if you keep pushing hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit different there. I'm gonna be honest. I turned 43 in December.
Baby.
My wife's got a really good career.
Right.
And I'm gonna be just dead honest with you. I'm good right where I'm at. I hit my
There you
goal
go.
this past year. I think some of y'all know Brandon, my business partner, Brandon Santander. He'll be with us down in Orlando. But
Okay.
man, we've pushed and pushed and pushed. We've maxed the rigs out. We've packed equipment on them. I'm paying trucks off, credit cards, left and right, and it's like, okay, we raised our salary to where we want it to be. We're more than comfortable, So I told him, I'm going to live life now. I'm going to enjoy it, So that's what we're going to do.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that. I tell the guys when I start my class off, these guys are all leaning forward. They want to write notes. And I said, before I start this class, you got to remember something. I'm 62. You got to, and Jamie, what are you, 39? I don't know what Jamie is.
28.
28. Sometimes you feel 28, sometimes 98. But I tell the guys in my class, I said, listen, I worked 2 jobs for 16 years, so my wife could stay home with our 2 daughters, right? But I said, the most important thing is you got to remember this, and Jason, you can understand this. Your wealth is in your health. It's in your health, because if some guys will work, around the clock, they're wearing themselves down, their body's breaking down. And once you lose that health and you get these lifelong problems, it's not worth it. You can't buy that back. Nope. So I feel the same way you do. I'm very content. I have a good pension. I have a good job, a good company. But I have these opportunities. I may expand this year. I'm not sure, but I love where I'm at. And there's nothing wrong with that in business. But I tell the guys, because a lot of guys take my class at half my age. I'm 62. They're going to be at 30 years old range, right? 30, 35. And I'm like, you know what? Stay driven, but do not sacrifice your health.
Yeah.
Not worth it. That's a big thing. So let's get to the meat of the potatoes. Jason's speaking at the PWMCA ServicePro Expo. He's on the list here.
Yep. He's on there.
And Jason, have you done any of this kind of stuff before?
Yeah. I've taught classes at the Huge. I went to Orlando 5 times last year. Just different organizations. I think I spoke, with you before, Jamie, and some other, organizations, PWNA and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with this. I've done it before. I don't know about y'all, but I'm still at a point where I just love tinkering with things. When the guys are out washing, I'm back at the shop, just tinkering, trying to find cool things to do, different things to do, and like, I know it's not new to the market, but we landed a couple of huge, flat work jobs, and
I love it.
We fabricated up 2, like you have the 0-turn mowers, but in Tennessee, we just call it, we rednecked it. And so we just got a regular old mower that the deck was trash on. So we dropped the deck and cut some things off, and then I put LED lights on the front of the mower, made a custom bracket, Brandon did all the welding and everything. And now we've got 2 of the Whisper Wash little hippos, the 2 5-footers, and then just a cheap, junky, 2 0-turns. And I'm not sure if you caught it, but in the fall of last year, we did a marathon cleaning. We landed this is a pun, but we landed a runway to clean. Oh, nice. And it was designed for like one of the big aircraft. It was over 8,000 feet long. Wow. And now we weren't cleaning the skid marks. They knew that wouldn't come up with our kind of pressure.
That's a whole different animal.
Right. But we were cleaning all the landing strips, the white lines, have the glass beads in them, the reflectivity and all that. And so they shut down the runway for us for 4 days. So we worked 51 hours straight. One of the rigs ran nonstop. It never shut off, and we were doing 12-hour shifts. I was in the daytime with Brandon, and then at nighttime, the guys would come in and take over. We'd go home to sleep and rotate shifts, and we were using one of the 0-turns. We're just sitting all night long is all we're doing. So your power washers, you build your power washers or you buy those power washers? I build my own. I build them. Yeah. I mean,
what is your favorite engine and what do you like to build? Like what's your setup?
Well, I can tell you what my favorite engine is not, and that's the IGX 800. That is not my friend.
Okay.
I
like.
man,
Wait. You know what I like about Jason already? We never really spoke to each other. I love people that are dead honest. Just give us the meat and potatoes and skip the bullshit. So go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I was taught to rebuild. 'Cause I was raised on a farm as an only child, so if it was something broke, we fixed it. We didn't call a mechanic in, and we didn't have the money to back in the day. Tractor broke, you fixed it. That's all there is to it. So my favorite engine is just the good old classic 690. I mean, just give me 5 of them. And if it's the carburetors are what, $60 on Amazon. You get a brand new one. With a fuel actuator and everything, new gaskets. I mean, it's like what, a 30-minute job to change a carburetor on a 690. You know what I'm saying? So
simple.
Just give me the non-fuel injected, non-computerized machines, and that's what I'll run with. So
yeah, me too. All my engines are Kohler's, but my second favorite engine right behind that was the Hondas, right? But the thing with me was I need these big Kohler's. I run 2 pumps off my machines, and I have so many guys asking me, John, can you build this for our company? And I only do it for my own crew, right? But I tell the guys, I said, listen, I didn't come up with this idea. It was Paul Cassander who created this whole thing when he was in partners with EnviroSpec years ago. And so he went on his own. There wasn't a big sell for this type of setup because most guys don't handle 14 gallons a minute or whatever hell we're going to use. So I took I bought all his bases. And I sold some to a guy. I'm in a blank what his name is in Washington State. The extra ones I had, but I took the bases and I built exactly what he told me what he was selling back then. But I had through Granger, I had different pulleys put on, and I'm like, I wish Honda. I like Honda a lot too. My favorite was Kohler and Honda. I use Vanguard. I would never. Guys might get mad here, but the Predator engines. All my generators are Predator engines, but we don't use the generators that much. But I want engines to run a long, long time. And the Hondas, to me, and the Kohlers were right there. Except the Hondas didn't have, maybe you guys know now, they didn't have 40 horsepower engines. That's what I needed. So, but I build my own power washers. I'm going to build my own soft wash skid coming up this year. But yeah, I'm the same way you are. I like the mechanical end. Actually, listen, I love to wash it. When I got hurt at 44 years old, we were in the garage. I blew my knee out. I knew at that point, as I get older, that I'm going to break down. And I was used to be in great shape. Not so great shape now. It was at the gym today, but I'm not in the greatest shape. But I knew my body would break down. So I got away from that end. And the smartest thing I've ever done was get employees. The hardest thing is to really release that control. Wouldn't you agree with that, guys? To release that control.
Absolutely.
Send these guys out to do the work you did.
Absolutely.
That's a hard thing. I mean, so that's what I ended up doing. And I learned from Michael Hinton a lot of years ago when I was in New Orleans, the most valuable asset to your company is a good employee. That's what it comes down to. They bring in the money. So us 3 guys here, we got to keep the company running. So Jason, go back to you. So talk about what you're going to teach at the PWMCA Service Expo event.
So my class basically is, rig maintenance, how to take care of your rig kind of thing. It's aimed towards the newer guys, but like you said, the more tenured guys, they may need a little refresher. I do sometimes, because, I mean, all these different groups we can talk about, well, I had this issue today, had this issue, and, but sometimes there's little tricks of the trade you learn along the way. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And there's certain people that I know I can call this time of night right now with an engine issue, and he can tell you exactly what it is. He's like, is it doing this? Yep. Okay, it's this. Boom, you're done. But I don't keep calling them people every time. I retain that knowledge. So if it happens again next time, I know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know. I just like to figure things out.
Oh, me too. Me too. So, hey, look, we own companies. We are really problem solvers. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what we are.
We got a lot of problems.
Solver. Yep.
And you solve it. Some guys can't, and they burn out. I'm reading some of these guys' comments. Ryan McGowan, I talked to him last night. We talked for a couple hours on stuff. But he's telling me, now, I don't know if this is a compliment or not. He's saying, Honda 690 at 8 gallon per minute TSF 2020. All my pumps are TSF 2021s, Generals. is the Chevy Silverado of units. Is that a compliment? I'm a Ford. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's saying it's pretty standard. Like
Yeah,
the Chevy
standard, yeah.
Silverado is you know, the heartbeat of America, if you will.
Yep.
Well, what are you guys? Ford, Chevy, Dodge guys? What are you guys? I'm Ford.
I could care less, honestly.
Best deal you get.
I've had them all. Yeah. I don't.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Actually, let's see. 2 of my rigs are Chevys. The other 2 are Dodge diesels with a 6.7 Cummins. I've got a 2017 Ram with a Hemi. Then Brandon, he's got a 3500 with a 6.7 Cummins. So we're
Cummins
kind of a Dodge
engine,
family. So,
So
for the Chevys, though, for the new guys out there, for the Chevys, in my opinion, if you want a good, solid engine to last you a while, get the 5.3 Vortec with the LS motor, the LS block. That is the solid. There is thousands of different parts out there for it. They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
So that's what we have is 2 of the 5.3s.
So I'm going to touch base real fast. I'm going to go back to your class, Jason, and why I asked you to do that specific class. Because, we talked about business and all kinds of stuff. So I told John this last week when you were on the show. I was at my buddy, man. You guys know Marco. Everybody knows Marco Armando, right? I was at his place a few years ago. I was at his place out there in Texas, and this gentleman pulled up. Nice rig. Nice rig, man. Beautiful trailer, beautiful, right? And he goes to Marco and says, hey, man, I had to stop cleaning this big concrete job. My surface cleaner is it ain't working right. And, I'm in trouble. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? First thing was like, are your tips clogged? And he's like, how do you check that? Now, there's nothing wrong. Like, that's not against him, right? Because
you almost want to laugh at that, but you
do. But we laugh because we know, right? But if you don't know,
right. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
And I'm like, man, these little things like this, man, like guys, it could save them so much aggravation to understand how to do like simple things.
I think what happened today, we were cleaning the flat work at the Chamber of Commerce, and I could hear one of them because I was running I was running a Classic and a Mini Mondo. I could hear one of the bars on the Mini Mondo slapping the concrete. I knew something didn't sound right, so I walked over to it, and I could tell it was coming out from underneath the skirt, but the other bar was spinning faster. So I knew there was a clog in one of the tips, so I didn't flip it over right quick. And sure enough, somehow a small piece of white plastic got in the tip. And also, one of the things I'm going to mention and teach it at there as well is, going bigger surface cleaners is not always best. And here's the reason why. Like me. So I'm running a single 8 gallon a minute on a Mini Mondo that has 4 tips.
Right.
But when you have 4 tips, that means the orifice is tiny. So a grain of sand can stop it up. But if I was running, let's say 2/8 on a Mini Mondo, which you can, 16 gallons a minute, now you just double the size of the tips, and now that little trash will pass right through.
That's so important.
Yep.
That is so important. Like my Steel Eagle 48s have 4 tips. That's it. And I can get them to have 4 tips. If you cut it in half, it's 24. That's a great point you brought up because I see guys like we own the couple of the Whisper Wash Classics, 19-inch, right? And some guys are using those with 4 tips. And I don't always like, whatever floats your boat, but ours only have 2 tips. And because, like you said, the orifice is wider and sand can jam those things up in a New York second. Poof, when they're small. So I'm a big fan of that. The wider the tip is, if it works good for you, the better off you are. You don't need, to me anyway, the 24-inch surface machine and you're putting 4 tips in there, then maybe you should have 16 gallons a minute so you still those tips are 4 or 4 at the end. Guys don't understand that.
Yep.
They're sold, they're sold with all this fancy stuff on the internet. And like, hey, I can get you a 4-tip bar. And what do you have, a 20-inch machine? And, they're going to use 8 gallons a minute in there, but you're only going to get an O2 at the end, 2 gallons a minute go through. And sand will up, you guys know, especially, both you guys know, the sand can jam those little things up. And no matter how much pressure on your machine, the sand is not coming out.
Not coming out.
And then what happens to these guys is, I see this on residential all the time. So they got these 4-tip, 24 or less surf machines, and they're doing residential. And now the damn tip is clogged. So now the other tips are trying to push all this pressure out, and next thing you know, they're striping up they're zebra striping the whole damn thing.
Yep.
So
I tell guys, when I build rigs for guys, I tell them, if you're going to get get any surface cleaner. Let's say you're chucking a truck kind of guy for now, which is fine. That's how I
nothing wrong
started.
with that. Right, sure.
If you're going to buy a surface cleaner, you better hop on Amazon and get you a $7 dental pick kit and ship that to you too, and keep it in your truck. I've used staples, I've used thumbtacks, whatever was in the truck before I knew what dental picks were. So
Right.
because you're like, I can't keep striping this. I've got, I've got to fix it.
Got to fix
And plus, when you're striping, you're going slower than what you need.
Right.
And it's cutting down your efficiency. So,
what is your you guys here? What is your favorite degree size tip you guys like in these machines?
Well, it depends on what surface cleaner. So if I'm running just a single bar, like on a classic, I'm a 25-degree guy. But if I'm running double bar or like a little hippos there, it's a 4-bar, then I'm going to run 40-degree tips. Right. Because then the spray overlaps, so you don't have any chance for a line in the middle.
How about you, Jamie? Same thing, pretty much?
Yeah, 25. Yeah, same thing.
Me too, 25s.
Yeah.
Never 15 on residential. Never.
No.
And a lot of these surface machines, they come with 15 degrees. You know that? Mm-hmm. If you don't ask them, if you don't tell them what you want, you're going to find these things at 15 degrees. And look, most guys, us guys do a lot of commercial, but when I first started out, I'm sure you guys the same way. Everything was residential, right? When you first started. And when I bought a surface machine, it was 15-degree tips. So we striped a lot of stuff. We learned the School of Hard Knocks. You can go to all the classes you want, which I recommend you guys to learn everything Jason and Jamie know. But the other thing is, these guys go in here blind, and they get these 15-degree tips in here, and they're buying in Home Depot these 4,000 PSI power washers, and they are killing these driveways. And what really happens here is they hurt the whole damn industry because it scares people.
It does.
That's why I tell people, look, Facebook is what it is. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for knowledge, but you really want to go to these events like the ServicePro Expo coming up in February 22nd and 23rd, because you want to rub elbows with guys like Jason and Jamie and other guys there. We've been through it all. And we take the companies serious enough, our companies, to go to these events. And those are look, I met companies that make $50 million a year at these conventions. My largest competitor's got 26,000 employees. So you figure out the money they're making. But I meet these people at these events, these expos, these conventions. We used to call them roundtables. And I can't stress enough to you guys. Jamie's got, we're not going to go over all these speakers, but he's got all these great speakers in here that I'm going to go, I can tell you right off the bat, I'm going to Flip's class because he's got his wife, Charlene. They do this company together. I'm definitely going to AC Locke is a great speaker. I've seen him many times.
Yep.
But Angela and Jared, I'm going to theirs. And I started my company in 1996. So if I can get golden nuggets out of that, what do you think a guy with 4 or 5 or 1 year on can get?
Well, I tell you, when I was a new guy, the very first convention I went to was the Huge down in Atlanta. That was back in 17 or 18 or something. Right. And, I went to all the classes, paid my money, did all this, and I learned a lot. But, man, I learned more. And this is not a knock to anybody teaching, but I actually learned more at the bar from talking with people who are like-minded. Right. I was just a one-man show, and me and Brandon, we just met, not too long before that. And we started asking a bunch of questions over a beer, and I remember one of the guys, I don't know who it is. I wish I could shake his hand right now, but I was at the bar with him. I had one beer. I don't know how many he had, but he said, I said, what kind of money can be made in this industry? That's the question I asked him. He said, well, kind of depends on how hard you want to push. Number one. Number two, I said, okay, well, how much can this is a very vague question, but how much money can a typical rig bring in per year? He said, well, if you have, the industry standard 8-gallon minute machine or 2, your 100-gallon SH tank, nice size water tank, good surface cleaners. If your rig is in tip top, shape and performance, and your guys are trained, then your rig each rig should average $250,000 a year. I stopped. I was like, there's no way in hell. Larry, I can't even do 100,000 by myself. He's like, you'll get there one day. Trust me. So with that mentality, all the profits that I made, I put back into the business. Bought new trucks, bought new surface cleaners, always maintained the machines, always got the, a remote, downstream injectors, all the nice toys so we could move faster. It's an upfront investment, but you move faster, on the job site.
Time is money. Time is money.
That's right. And, like I said, I hit, well, not I, the business, Brandon and myself, we hit our goal this year, which was 7 figures. I wanted to see that other comma pop up.
Right.
And this year we only ran 4 rigs, not 5. So that told me I was right on the money, with what he said. And that's why I wanted to hit that goal, just to do what he said, So now another thing that we do, not everybody offers, but is reclaim. I might have the old reclaim that Sean Gross built. I'm not sure if y'all remember that one.
Oh, I know Sean's been out my way. Yes.
Yep. He built a real big Sirocco system at the Power Wash store in Nashville.
Right. And
we bought it off of CJ, but that's what we offer. We don't use it much, but when it runs, there's money talking as soon as it starts up, kind of thing. So there's been jobs that we, I'm not trying to gouge people, but when they call at midnight and say, hey, I spilled 10 gallons of diesel on the concrete, I'm waking up, putting my washing shoes on. We're going to wash,
Right.
But those kind of jobs, though, you're talking, our minimum just to roll the reclaim out is $1,500. I ain't going for any less than that, So if it take, like that job I was talking about, the last reclaim we did was 4,000. But it took about 2 hours, and we carried off site and did all that.
Right.
So we had to pick up, the oil dry. So it's just kind of finding, the niche in your area too, because not a lot of guys, I think we're the only one in my area that even offers that, so there's nobody else really to call,
You
so
said something very,
like that.
Right. He said something very important here. He's saying he goes to the bar, and that's called networking. That's where I met some of the best people in there. I would sit there and tell people, like, when you guys go to the PWMCA ServicePro Expo, I recommend go to the bar, but not even if you drink. One of my classes, I was in Atlanta, I think it was, Jason. I did a garage class. You were there. I did my garage with me and Fat Eckhoff and Chris Lamadini were close. So I did it. I was there at that 2017 and 16 in New Orleans. So I've been at a bunch of huge conventions. But I tell people, be a sponge. I sit at the bar and I have a beer, like you said. I might have 5 beers. I don't know what I'm going to have. But I sit there and I listen to these people. It's called networking. And like one of the guys I met, you're going to go back in time now, in 2004, when I first became a PWA board of director, I met Darryl Mirza. And Darryl Mirza ended up having a company of over 500 employees, had his own plane. He was making $50 million a year. He built this company, Facilitech. Michael Hinterleiter bought Facilitech South. These are multi-million-dollar companies. But he told me then, it's very similar to what you're saying. He says, John, get an employee. You're going back to 2004 in Dallas. And he was telling me this, and he said, one employee, now you're going back then, can get you $90,000 to $100,000 a year. So let's say that was 90, now it's 100. So now my rigs, guys, it's always at least 2 guys going out. So if 2 guys are going out today, you should hit that 250 a truck. At least that. We do, our niche is the garages, so we're going to make more because that's our niche. But generally, like you said, Jason, look, one guy can go out with one guy who works all the time can make $200,000 now, the way things are set up. If he's set up, like you said, 8-gallon per minute machines, he's got the soft wash set up, he's got the ability to do this kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't know that. Back then, I had one guy working for me, but I'm like, if he makes you $60,000 a year, it was great. And Darryl Mirza told me 90 to 100. So here's a guy who made $50 million in a year. Gigantic company. He owned Facilitech, and then he owns I can't think of the company now. It's a tremendous company. It's nationwide, and now he's got patents. So yeah, you don't meet these guys on Facebook. They're not on Facebook. You meet a guy. You know what I love about Facebook? I've been in this industry so long, and there's so many of these self-promoted, made gurus that they can never. Like I seen Jason, I seen your trucks, Jamie. Of course, I see you not far from me. These guys never show anything. They just say, hey, look, we made $3 million last year. We only have 4 guys. There's nothing there. And then they have these YouTube shows, and they're telling you this stuff. Their goal is to sell you something, but they can't back it up. And when you go to these events, these conventions, these guys are here because they're serious business owners. So I learned a ton from that. I've been to 50, 60 conventions over the years, and I'm still going to go. To the day I get out of business, I'm sure you two might be long gone. You sold your company for millions. I'm not leaving until I'm 80 years old. What hat you got on? What is that?
My guru hat.
The guru hat, self-appointed guru.
I'm gonna have these for the speakers of the show. Guru hats.
Hey, all your speakers, these speakers all can be vetted. I tell guys you can vet these speakers very easily. Just look at their history and see what they have.
Yep.
See what they've done. Look, it's not what house they own. It's not what I see these guys. They're standing by a Ferrari, and they're 29 years old and taking a picture. So none of that. You want to see, the company out there. That's why I show my pictures all the time. You want to see the company out there. You want to see maybe a truck or two they have. I seen Jason do plenty of stuff he's showing on net. Jamie, I seen Jamie do garages. I seen him do Christmas lights. I don't know why Jamie still goes on a roof, but he's up there. I see you on a roof. You guys are down below. But you see all this stuff. That's how you vet guys. I can tell you guys, I made $14 million this year. No, I did not. But what do they know? You can say anything on that. All you got to do is if they show that guys are doing the work, they have a crew, even if they're by themselves. There's plenty of guys by themselves who love showing their work all the time. And those guys would be rock solid teachers for a person that wants to be in total control and be an owner operator. There's nothing wrong with that. He's in total control.
Absolutely not. Nothing wrong with that.
My only complaint with that is I have one complaint with that. When you get older.
True. That's what people got to think about. I mean,
now one thing too I want to bring up that I don't hear many people talk about it at all is like, our business, our goal was to get the next comma, to get that 7 figures. Okay, we did it. That's great. And like you were talking about, there's people saying they, 14 million standing next to a Ferrari and all this. Okay, that's great. Good for you. But the key to this is not your gross, it's your net.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yes, we have to spend money because tax season's coming. You got to get all, either pay the government or buy equipment, pick one kind of thing. I get that. But, if you're only bringing in 10% of your gross, you're really not maximizing your efforts. To me, I'm trying to stay around 42%. That's my goal, but I hear people, oh, well, we did 500,000 last year. Cool, man. But, I don't want to sit here and ask them, well, what was your net? Because now I'm asking what your bank account looks like. You know what I'm saying? So, gross isn't everything. It's nice, but it's not everything.
It's a net.
More money, more problems.
Right.
So
that's true. And, obviously the bigger you get, like the owner operator is always going to have the highest net percentage. Mm-hmm. And if you have $100 million company and after everybody's paid, including yourself, my dad had a big company, 150 employees. They were at 10, 11%, but that's after all the executives were paid, the owners were paid, everybody's paid. So the numbers change the bigger you get. So if you're $1 million company, if you really do things like Jason said, you can get that 30, 40. But as you get bigger, that comes down. But the thing here is, it always comes down to the net. I know companies that went out of business were making $1 million a year because they had so many employees. The money wasn't there. They were making, I think I'm hitting a blank now, but this company was making $60 million a year a couple of years ago, not in the industry, and they went broke. So there's a lot of that. So and I'm sure Jason's going to teach us in his class. You have to know your numbers. You have to know what it costs you to run your operation. You have to know what it costs you. Like you say, look, I'm paying a guy $20 an hour. Well, and let's say he's on the books, right? And where I am in New York, which is, I can't wait to go to Florida. But they were taking 35% of my payroll towards workers' comp. So if I had $100,000 payroll, I was paying $35,000 on top of that workers' comp. Then you have unemployment and everything else. So it's so important, guys. Jason said it. It comes down to your net. You have to know your numbers. And this is why I don't price on the internet. Because I said, John, what would you charge for a 1 million square foot garage? Look, I have my numbers and I know my guys get paid. So I may charge more than a lot of guys might charge, but a company with 26,000 employees like Standard Parking Plus, SP Plus, who I deal with, they have 26,000 employees. They're a different model. So that's why I never talk prices on the net. You know, it's very, very rare because my main guy is making on $50 an hour. These guys are all making in the 40s, and then they get all kinds of bonuses. So I know what it costs me to run my operation. If you don't know your numbers, and a lot of these guys don't, they went out and bought that $30,000 shiny setup, right? It's got all the bells and whistles. They have no idea what the numbers are, and then they're going to sell those things and go out of business in November. They need the money for next year. And then a guy like me who's a hawk, I'm going to try to buy something for them.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that terrible? That's terrible.
Yeah, you got to know your
I
numbers.
love doing that. That's what I'm doing right now in the shop. I got a whole pile of equipment that I bought off competitors locally, and I'm just fixing them up and flipping them now. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Line them up.
Yeah, I got a $60,000 reclaimer set from Hot and Mighty from a company that went out of business. I paid $14,000 for it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful setup. It's just sitting. I now have it in my yard here, but it's sitting out there, and I hold on to it. I know it's worth about probably it's like $65,000. It's perfect shape. I could probably dump it right now. I could flip that big time, but I'm holding that because I may do something. I may open up one of my garages down by Philly. Jim, you're gonna love that one. I may open it up. I'm not sure yet. If they sign me a 10-year contract, that's what I'm working on now. You know, we're doing 3s now. I'm trying to get 10s. If I can get these size contracts, then I'm going to open up one of those garages and I'm going to bring people in and teach that. And I don't mind doing that because there's so much work in the parking garage world.
Yeah,
there really is.
So much work in the whole industry, really.
Everywhere there's work. I mean, houses. I mean, look, listen. I think the biggest the most popular companies in the world. If you took all the people working in the world, maybe without counting the food industry, the cleaning industry's got to be top.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. I mean, you know, we have people clean the house in here, but the largest company in Kings Park where I live, they have 1,500 employees. All they do is they do maid services. So you have maid service, you got exterior, you got interior cleaning. It's the cleaning world. Is everything. Everything encompasses cleaning. Think something that doesn't got to be cleaned.
Yep. That's why there's always always something clean.
Something that doesn't have to be clean. I mean, the car's got to be cleaned.
Yep.
Concrete's got to be cleaned. The salt's got to be cleaned out of that. That's what garage collapsed in Manhattan. I'm going to get the whole report soon. The rebars rust. The garage comes down. Roof's got to be cleaned. Houses got to be cleaned. Trucks, fleet's got to be cleaned. The roadways got to be cleaned. What doesn't have to be cleaned? There's so much work out there.
I mean, your trash can has to be cleaned, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Have to be cleaned.
Guys got these big trash. They're beautiful trucks, by the way.
Yeah.
I put the blank with the Sweeney, I think, makes those things. But they make these trucks, and you get these accounts that clean the trash cans. You don't clean them in certain areas, here come the rats.
Yeah.
So, unbelievable amount of money. So anyway,
there's tons of money to be made, you know, and that's what I'm going to teach in my class is how to, you maintain and upkeep your rig. You know, therefore, you're not having to buy the same rig every 5 years. You're taking care of your trailer or your truck and you're coating it and, trying to keep leaks to a minimum and that sort of thing, try to keep it dry. So, because, I'm sure, you guys know as well as I do, SH and metal, they hate each other. So,
yeah. We could talk all night long about, I'm a big fan of Craig Harrison with the F9 products.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk all day long about guys mixing chemicals. Tom Vogel, ACR products, and Jamie knows him well.
Mm-hmm.
He fucked up. He screwed up. Excuse me. He screwed up his esophagus. I got a bad mouth. He screwed up his esophagus from dealing with hydrofluoric acid. There's nothing better than hydrofluoric acid. It burns you inside out. That's the problem with that. I want to do a shout out. We got Ryan McGowan here. We haven't talked last time. Rusty Lasker. We got Adam Lafford. We got Carlos Gonzalez, a legend in the industry. Manuel Comaneris, Jason Thomas, Rick Niles. We got a lot of guys in here. Sean Garner. Guys, I got to end this soon. I love talking to these guys. I'm hitting the road tomorrow morning. I'm driving to Florida. But I can't recommend enough to go to the ServicePro Expo, because you're going to meet guys like us three right here, and we'll meet guys that us times 10. And you got to your network, and don't be afraid to ask the questions. If you see me walking in the hallway, John, say, John, stop. You want to grab a beer? I'm like, you going to buy me a beer? I'm going to go to the bar. So we all want to listen. We're in this industry together. We all want to see everybody prosper, to make money. We're very passionate people here. And that's another thing, Jamie, and Jamie knows this, and so does Jason. The guys that go to these events are very passionate in what they do. And this is what they do. This is what they are. So I can't mention that enough. But guys, close it out. Jason, with your class, one more last thing about your class that you're teaching.
Yeah. So like I said, just the upkeep of your rig, trying to make your investment make more money for more years, and how to protect it, what to do if something happens, what if SH gets on your metal bed, what to do, that sort of thing. If I could do one little quick or two quick shout outs. Number one, I see Brenda Farley just hopped on. If you never met her.
Oh, she's great. I love her.
Classic lady. Classic lady. Number two is for the new guys out there. If you've never met Craig Harrison with F9, you need to.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is robust. I've been to his house. I've met his wife, and I've seen he is a force to be reckoned with. The guy is a walking genius.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a question, he's going to answer it, and he's going to answer it in words that you've never heard before in your life, just so you know.
And he got hurt in the past, so you guys know that.
Right.
He was dealing with hydrofluoric acids and muriatics and went in the hospital for days. He's lucky he's alive. Jamie, what do you got, buddy?
Yep.
Jamie, what do you got? We're going to close it out. What do you got?
That's it. We ain't got nothing, man. I appreciate you guys coming on, and thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Jason, for speaking, and John for doing your parking garage class, and F9. Craig will be there. He's doing a class on the 20th also. It's a separate class. It's a paid class, just like John's.
Take that class.
You can take both classes because they're not at the same time. We did that. I didn't want to stack them, so we have them where you can take Craig's class in the morning, take John's in the afternoon, and then you can finish Craig's class on the 23rd in the afternoon at our expo. So you guys want to see the agenda, go to pwmc.org and get my ticket, and it'll open up the agenda page where you can see the speakers, what they're going to be speaking about. And it's going to be an awesome time, man. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm really stoked about it. The networking, I'm looking forward to getting back and with some old friends, catching up and making new friends. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
I just want to be in the 70-degree weather again.
Well, yeah, that's really why I'm trying to get out there. Yes.
Yeah, that's a benefit too. So there's a benefit right there, and you can't beat that. All right, guys, great show. Peace out, Jamie. I'll see you Thursday night.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
See ya, guys.